Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we spotlight guest John Lummis of Indianapolis, Indiana. John suffered a stroke on December 26, 2013. He has become a stroke thriver, returning to rehab facilities to connect with therapists and stroke survivors. He often shows up to public events in superhero outfits as a way to motivate and inspire others. He has deleted the phrase, "I can't," from his lexicon and replaced it. John's story is entitled, How Can I? Thank you for joining us for part 2, John Lummis's interview. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. This radio show, Beyond Stillness, offers an hour of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. This week, we welcome guest John Lummis from Indianapolis, Indiana. John suffered a stroke on December 26, 2013. He calls himself a stroke thriver. He often volunteers for medical trials at rehab facilities throughout Indianapolis. And John is known as superhero extraordinaire because he shows up to races and public events throughout Indiana in superhero costumes. John's story is entitled, How Can I? And we begin with a moment of pause. Today we pause and remind ourselves that we are much stronger and much more able than we sometimes think. Today we take a moment of pause to breathe, to become aware of ways that our bodies have recovered since the time of the stroke. Become aware of the ways that our strength, our patience, our mental fortitude, our hope have teamed up together in order to support and propel our recovery forward. Today, we try to shake off the term "I can't" and embrace the term "How can I?" We ask for the ability to problem solve and to push past our obstacles. And we ask for the vision to see our future as one of hope, connection, and purpose, so that we may share our wisdom with others. John, in your story, you said that in time you've learned there's a balance between doing things yourself and accepting help. Please tell us about a specific experience that helped you learn this balance.
Well, the balance, it was hard for me to do this, but I had to have a conversation with people about it. And they said, well, I'm just trying to do something to help you. Well, it finally sunk in with me. That's all they were doing. They weren't trying to baby me because I did not want babied, and that was the hardest part. So I sat down, and a lot of times it'll be just getting my plate so I could go sit down and eat, which was hard to do when you're holding a plate and you're holding a cane. You can't really fill your food up all the time. And so that's somebody's just trying to help me. And a lot of times I get a little aggravated with them. And I just had to calm myself down going, they're just trying to help you. They're not trying to baby you. I mean, if there's another person standing there, or, like I said before, you hold the door for somebody when you walk in somewhere. The next person out, there's somebody's close enough, you hold the door for them. Or somebody's walking in the door, you grab the door and hold it. That's all it was. Just an act of kindness is all it really was. But I had to have a conversation with the few people, and a conversation myself to understand that.
And what did they say, or what did you say to help you learn that and get into that balance?
I just, somebody says, hey, let me get that for you. I said, okay. If I'm sitting there trying to do something, I always want to do it myself anyway. But it's like, okay, let people help out a little bit. It doesn't discourage me anymore. I don't feel babied or anything else because I do most everything myself. So I've gained enough confidence in myself to be able to allow that to happen.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Confidence. Yep. Confidence in yourself. Sometimes we have to have enough confidence to understand that we also have humility. True confidence recognizes our humility also.
As I spoke in the story about how you set small goals. Well, you set small goals and you accomplish 3 or 4 small goals. You all of a sudden you've built the confidence yourself to take on more goals. You celebrate the small victories on your way to the larger victories.
Yeah. John, you mentioned that you didn't want to be a burden on your family. Upon reflection, how do you now contribute to your family in ways that you couldn't have without having suffered a stroke?
I don't really help them financially. I mean, all the kids are pretty much grown now. They're on their own. I give them advice on some things. They'll ask advice from them. I'm always there for them to talk to if they have some problems. I basically have time to sit down and think about things with them. Before, it's like I was always rushing here and rushing there. Of course, now they're all out of school and stuff, so on their own lives. So I'm not having all that responsibility. But I'm always here for them. No matter what time they call or text me, I always answer them.
Yeah, you take the time for them. You mentioned that in your story, how you've slowed down and sometimes you pull over to look at the sunrise on your way to work. This is another way that you've slowed down so that you are always available for your family members when they reach out and need someone to talk with.
Yeah, they know I'm not going to baby them. They're not going to just tell them something they want to hear. They're going to hear direct advice that may be good or bad to them. But it's going to be straight up. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for them.
I love it. You're a straight shooter.
Yes.
In your story, your sister suggested that you join a support group. You said your initial reaction was that you didn't want to join a quote-unquote poor me type of gathering. Again, you're a straight shooter. You said that directly to her. What is your perspective on support groups now?
There's still a lot of poor me out there.
But you are involved in a few support groups. So what do you look for in a support group?
Activity. I mean, there's one support group that I'm in is like 2,000 or 3,000 members online with it, but they're not active. There may be like 6 of us that are active in the group.
Wow.
So where's everybody else at? Why'd they join?
I
mean, they're not in there to comment or post or, to share their journeys, which we've asked many times to share your journey, because a little bit of your journey may inspire somebody else on their journey and may just make things a lot better for them. But they don't realize that yet.
Yeah, sometimes we're not at a point to share or participate yet. You do a very good job at sharing.
Jump in there and try it and see. Use your gut feeling, more or less. But take a feel what's going on. If you go in there and it's a bunch of people just for me, then it's probably not going to happen for you. Find a group that's active and interactive.
Active and interactive.
Yeah, they want to do things with you. They want to talk to you. They want to have conversations. They want to be there to really support you and find out what you're needing. Because I may not be able to tell them what they need, but the person standing next to you may be able to tell them what they need.
Oh, interesting.
They may connect to the person next to me or 3 people over or myself. It all depends.
Yeah, I spoke with another John last week who was talking about how every single person in the group who shared had something that he could learn from.
I've challenged the support groups I'm in, and I do it myself first. Take a video and post it in the group. Just open up and tell your story. Because it may connect, one thing may connect with one person, and you may change their entire recovery just by one thing.
Wow.
But until you open up and tell your story, that person may not know.
Wow.
Because, I did not know. I mean, it was up to me. I didn't know you could recover from a stroke. So this opened my eyes on a lot of things, and I had nowhere to turn to get information from besides therapists. And some of them were still doing the old type therapists. So I do the research stuff. It opens eyes on a lot of people. I sat and did the research, the study, the high intensity study. I was the first one here in Indianapolis to do the research study. And all the therapists I knew on the floor from being in the rehab facility are asking me every day, what do you think about this? How you feeling? What's it? Hey, I'm loving this, man. Bring it on more. I mean, they were watching me go through this stuff and freaking out like I could do some of the stuff and not do it before. And as far as they were pushing me, wow. It opened their eyes that there was more to the therapy.
Wow. Just trying and pushing a little, pushing past it, practicing. You said that when you returned home, you set up your own therapy gym. You mentioned some of the ways that you did this. You wanted to keep the area rugs. You taped lines on the floor. You placed a 2x4 and a foam pad on the ground to help practice balance. What are some other home therapy gym ideas that you have for our listeners?
In occupational therapy, they have you do what they call a standing block, which is your hand holding a wooden peg and pushing a block with nothing in it, or 2 pounds in it or 5 pounds in it, and you have to push in different directions. So I took the air hockey table and put my hand on the paddle and put a weight on top of my hand and then play the air hockey against myself just on the cross sideways to just tap the puck back and forth, get some control with my hand and arm and eye-to-hand coordination. And I've suggested a lot of people, I think there's a lot of battery operators out there. They're $10. It's a simple, easy home. And then your grandkids go, you can play air hockey against them. But yeah, they use a bunch of heel tap stuff in arches. I got tape on the floor. They do this heel tap and try to balance on one leg and heel taps with the other foot. I would tape stuff all over the floor. I tape stuff on tables. There's things we have where you got numbers in circles all around you, and you pick 2 numbers, like 2 and 12, so you're at the opposite ends, and you practice with a metronome of tapping the 2 and the 12, tapping the 2 and the 12, back and forth, and you set the speed of the metronome to bounce back and forth. I was using a pair of dice just to roll numbers to see which numbers I come up with.
You can find tools all over the house. You're talking about an air hockey table, and not everyone has an air hockey table in their house. But if we think creatively about the different tools that we have around the house, we're able to figure out how to practice. Even with the fork, we can take the fork in our house and continue to practice even when it's not time to eat.
Right. It got me thinking, all the games I grew up playing as a kid, which now kids nowadays are all on their phones or on their tablets. They don't have these games. We used to play all kinds of games, and you'd build stuff and construct stuff. And I think a lot of people have picked up using the Jenga blocks and stacking those to work that would, because the blocks are a bit bigger, so you can use a little bit less dexterity. I mean, if you slip and knock it all over, oh, well, you just rebuild it again. But
yeah,
that's an easy home therapy game to play.
I love it. John, you eliminated the phrase "I can't" from your lexicon and replaced it with "how can I?" What was your initial realization when omitting that phrase?
Pretty much through all the, the businesses I worked for, so like that, I've always used the mechanical mind, and it's always been, well, we're trying to figure out how to do this, and I would always just sit back and think things. Or while I was using the trucking industry, I'd have this problem in my mind and go to sleep, and then the morning I wake up and have a workable solution on how to run trucks a different way, work things better. So to accept things as I can't, I never really did accept I can't anywhere. But then when I saw some of the therapy things, I thought, well, I'm in therapy for an hour. I have another 3 or 4 days before I come back, what do I need to do between those two time frames to actually work a lot better the next time I'm in therapy and make some improvements. So that's when I start picking up okay, how can I do this at home?
Yeah.
How can I figure out to do this at home? We're doing this with the sanding block. Okay, I played on the air hockey table, or a lot of times I'll flip the table up and play, just play ping pong against myself with my non-restrictive hand. But yet I'm bouncing off my feet and running back and forth side to side. I'm working on my legs and that.
Huh. Yeah.
So I just How Can I has been around for quite a while. I just never realized how important it was till this happened to me. And I tried to figure out, how can I duplicate all this stuff? How can I get past all this?
You were a problem solver before the stroke, and now it really helps you in your recovery.
Or more or less become down. Even my neurologist looked at me one day and he goes, "Were you an engineer before you had your stroke?" I said, "No." He goes, "And how do you sit back and figure all this stuff out?" I said, "I just do." I look back and just figure out what I need to do.
Yeah. It's helpful the way that you've broken it down for us with 2 simple phrases, eliminating "I can't" and replacing it with "how can I?" Those are helpful prompts. Can you list a few easy examples of ways that you switch those phrases?
Mostly come down to just adapting things as I went. I've always had the mechanical mind and challenges that way. Well, I'm working on cars and that. I got to figure out, okay, I got one hand to turn wrenches with. I got to make sure I do something, somehow brace something up to help me take stuff apart. And I was taking a saw apart yesterday, so I used a box end wrench and I used a clamp to hold it in place, and I was able to take the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
I know if you use, like, putting nuts and screws together around a little bit, or putting stuff in sockets to put them down, if you put a piece of paper on top of the bolt head and you put a socket on top of it, it locks the bolt in place so you can lower it down and put it in where you need to put it at. I was trying to hang pictures on the wall. It was a little hard to get my hand up there to hold the little pin to put in the wall for the picture. So I grabbed an oversized thumbtack and I would start the hole, and I could put the piece in there and get pushing enough to tap it in the wall with a hammer. Yeah. And I started using that with stuff in the garage, doing woodworking. I got a couple of big thumbtacks around to start the hole over. And I can put the nail in there and then drive the nail straight.
That's amazing. John, switching gears again, at one point you told me that you were an open book. Why is it important for you to be so open and to share your story and to talk about recovery in all its parts?
I've sort of been that way a little bit most of my life. I didn't hide a lot of stuff. But when I had the stroke and I went into the rehab hospital, the gentleman who was my roommate went home the following day. So I had nobody to talk to, and his stroke was different than mine. And it was his second stroke. So he had full use of both hands, both feet. He wasn't limited in any way. So I had nobody to talk to. There's nobody to go talk to. And then there ended up being myself and another gentleman, the only two in the stroke unit. And his stroke was left side, which took out his right side. And his is more memory and cognition problems. So there's nothing to do about physical stuff like mine was. So I really still didn't have anybody to talk to. So I want people to be able to come up to me and say, "Hey, tell me about this. Tell me about this." And that's why I try to share the story as much as I can. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what went on. Explain to me what's happening. I mean, when a therapist comes up to you and asks you about certain things, they can't see everything going on in your body that you know is going on in your body. A lot of times I'll look at I work with some students. It's like, right now, you don't know if my toes are curling my shoe because my shoes are on. You can't see that. But I'm telling you that right now that my leg is stiffened up and the tone is set in and my toes are curled. Mm-hmm. So it's just trying to help them understand more things that happen. And then you can pretty much rehab from a stroke. A lot of people have gone back to normal. Some people still have some disabilities they have to work with, but for the most part, you can rehab from a stroke. But you need to hear it from somebody that's been there that you can do this.
Yeah. So I hear that in sharing your story, you are trying to address what you didn't have initially.
Yes.
And you hope that more and more people share their stories so that there becomes an awareness, also a camaraderie and a hope. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. You see stories of people that have had car accidents and they've been in spinal cord injuries, and then the doctor says, well, you'll never walk again. And guess what? A year later, they're walking. They proved the doctor wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I know in stroke, they tell you what you have at 2 years is about what you can end up with the rest of your life, which we're all calling now, it's a farce. It may be where you get the biggest gains in 2 years, but yet you can still continue to gain after that 2-year window. They may not be as big gains as what you had before, but they are gains.
Yeah.
So never give up hope. You can still work on that stuff.
Speaking of, for inpatient care, you were at the Rehabilitation Hospital of Indiana in RHI, they call it. And now you return to volunteer and speak there. Can you tell us a little bit about their program?
RHI's program pretty much is high-intensity studies they do. They have a lab that they put in a couple years ago where they do high-intensity training. They do studies with different chemicals. There's a beetroot study out there that lowers your blood pressure. I volunteer for that stuff. A research lab is very, very small, but they're using the patients that come to the facility. They get them to volunteer to work in the lab with them. And then other patients see the advancements they're making.
Huh. Interesting.
So they're a leading research facility in rehab.
Wow. Why do you think it's so important to continue your involvement there?
Involvement with RHI, I say, they gave me my life back. I'm trying to use my life to give back to them what they need. The younger therapists, students, or therapists that just become therapists don't see all this stuff that's going on. They hear about it, they read about it, but they don't get to experience it. When I'm there and I can talk to them and say, hey, this is what I used to do, and now I can do this because of what you guys do, they see it firsthand. They're just not having a professor or a doctor just stand there talking to them. They could actually put hands on me and see what's going on.
I've heard from other stroke survivors that experience of volunteering in programs like this is beneficial for both the program itself and the students involved in the program, and for the stroke survivors who are volunteering. It offers a purpose, a connection.
Yes, and you also get free therapy. But yes, the connection, you get to talk to more therapists. You get to explain your story to them. They get to put hands on you, but at the same time, you're working with a therapist, and they get to try things with you a little bit. Well, they get the firsthand experience of what's not in a book. It's all hands on. They get to learn from it. Yeah, I've explained to the therapist a lot of times that the better you make me, the better I am as a patient and as a human being, because I don't have to spend a lot of time in the hospitals and stuff for medical reasons and anything else, because I'm taking control of my own health and my future. So the more you give the patients the ability to do things themselves, the better off they're going to be. The insurance company doesn't balk at them all the time. It opens the door for them to be healthier.
I'm taking care of my own health and my future. I love that. If you could sit down and have a heart-to-heart conversation with yourself at one of your lowest points in recovery, what would you say to yourself?
To never give up. I mean, I've hit plenty of ruts. This journey is nothing but a roller coaster ride, and we all agree to that. It's a roller coaster journey all of the time. You have your highs, you have your lows, but you guys keep pushing forward through it all. Do not give up at all. Just find a way to refocus yourself. Take a step back, look at what you're doing, rethink things a little bit, refocus yourself, and then make a plan to move forward again. And it works.
Never give up, but also a specific way to take a step forward. Might be a little step, but it's a step. And little by little, we move forward.
True. And I've been in plenty of ruts. I mean, I've got in the Zoom meetings of people going, man, I'm sitting in a rut. I've been here for weeks. I've had people snap out of it. Well, I just sit back and just keep rethinking what I'm doing and refocus what I need to be doing and start doing it again. And I come right back out of the rut. But I've been in the ruts for up to a month.
How do you do it? Can you give me a specific first step?
Just to rethink, okay, I'm doing therapy, I'm doing my workouts, but nothing's changing. So I've everybody likes the word plateau, but that muscle group may be as far as I can take it right now until I engage in another set of muscle groups for them to work together. So I have to rethink what I'm doing and say, okay, well, let's work on this muscle group over here. Let's change up what our actual workout's going to be, and just change it a little bit and see if things work any different. If you like keep pushing through this stuff, you just got to rethink what you're doing. And okay, well, I'm doing this exercise. It's not really helping me. What exercise is close to that may help me get me out of the rut or get me moving a little farther ahead? Sitting back, and which I just learned so much. The muscle skeletal system of the body it's massive, and it's just. I mean, you look at the charts and see the muscles. Like, wow, this muscle here helps here, this muscle here helps here, but this muscle helps here. But when you get them to work together, with your brain, then you have advancements.
Yeah. That goes back to your phrase, how can I? Maybe you just have to let one muscle group rest and then move on to another muscle group, and then maybe they'll both advance together.
Well, it's back to retraining the brain.
Interesting. Okay, John, you're the guy that shows up to public events in a superhero costume. I've seen people show up to public events in costume, but I've never known the story behind it. How do you get the word out about what you've been through and why you dressed in costume?
I put the costume on. People usually come up and start talking to you about, hey, this is pretty cool. This is pretty neat, and I explain to them why I'm doing this. I've had a group of high school students come actually talk to me about why, and then they went back and told their swimming coach, but the swimming coach knew me, so it made a full circle within 2 hours in one day. It just starts the conversation. People want selfies with you because, my kids at home, they're going to die that they weren't here to see you like this, and that's okay. Take the pictures. We're good.
Oh, that's so great. Your sister suggested that she wanted you to join support groups because of your inspirational story and attitude, and you continue that by dressing in your superhero costumes and showing up to inspire other people. How can people find you? I know that you facilitate a support group.
You can find me on Facebook, and there's called the Stroke Sweat Squad. There's also called the Stroke Buddies. Stroke Buddies has like 5 different groups along with it. They're all phenomenal groups to be in. There's plenty of activity around there. The groups are around the world. I'm one of the administrators on most of them, so anybody wants to join, if they hit me up, it's okay. They get in right away. I usually do a once-a-week video. It's a challenge every month. That's on Facebook, yes. That's probably about the best way to get a hold of me.
So they can find John Lummis, Lummis,
yes,
on Facebook, and he suggests Stroke Sweat Squad and Stroke Buddies.
Yeah, Stroke Buddies is a gentleman started that 17 years ago. He was like me. They got done with his rehab in the hospital, so I kicked him out the door. He had no follow-up stuff, so he started to learn to do his own therapy. And his background is being a videographer. He started taping his own videos and making his own different workouts. He just released another one today. He's got a whole group of videos to help people out, where he talks very, very slow and very, very specific about stuff you're working on.
That sounds like a great resource.
It's a lot of research. And one of the groups is nothing but wellness. One of his other groups is nothing but nutrition. The other one's fitness. And then there's also running after a stroke that's in there also. Yeah, there's actually a lady that does a breathing group twice a week. She's a yoga instructor and she's breathing, and she suffered from a stroke, and she's trying to rebuild also.
And that's under Stroke Buddies also?
Yes.
Okay. Stroke, but
that's basically all people that have suffered a stroke, and they've rehabbed a lot from it, and they've learned a lot, and they're sharing their story also.
John, thank you so much for sharing your resources, sharing your story, sharing your life to inspire.
I appreciate it. Thank you again.
As we come to a close today, again, we settle into this moment, focusing on what we have to give post-stroke. John has figured out ways to volunteer his time, volunteer his wisdom, his space. We all have something to give. We all have wisdom. We all have a story to tell. And ears to hear. May we listen to others with compassionate hearts, creating a space of understanding, love, and hope. And may we, like John, offer our experiences as a way to support and inspire. And we give thanks. Thank you for devoting time and space to listen to Part 2, John Lummis's interview. For the full story, please listen to Part 1, John Lummis's story. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. In this episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we heard from guest John Lummis of Indianapolis, Indiana. John suffered a stroke on December 26th of 2013. As a stroke thriver, he returns to rehab facilities to connect with therapists and stroke survivors. In this episode, John offered ways he transformed his home into a makeshift therapy gym and reasons he shows up to public events in superhero costumes. John's story is entitled, How Can I? Again, thanks for listening. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational.
If you are part of the stroke community and have a story you'd like to share on the show, please contact us. Email molly@beyondstillness.org.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.